Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We're your home for Caribbean weather, and it's great to see you on a Monday. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Coming up in this video, powerful cold front moving into the Bahamas. We're going to be tracking some showers and storms. We'll also be watching the moisture move into the Caribbean. I'll talk about the areas I expect with the best chance for rain. As always, I'll have your island-by-island rainfall forecast as well. Meteo Mundo, sponsored by the leading law firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They offer free consultation and policy reviews. Anything that could impact you or your property, they'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. You want more information, please go to leanonmelaw.com. You're looking at our visible satellite imagery, the live lightning data, current temperatures on the board. Got a little steamy in a couple of areas today. Places in Puerto Rico and Hispaniola and Cuba and Jamaica reached the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That's anywhere from 30, 31, even 32 degrees Celsius. A little bit on the steamy side. You live in one of those areas that got a little too hot for you here for March. Let me know in the comments section below. You want to talk about hot? I'm talking about the storms that moved through Florida today and are now going to be moving into the northwest Bahamas. This front actually prompted some tornado warnings today in portions of Florida. It's now making a beeline into the northern sides of the Bahamas. We'll take a look at the live radar out of this area. Now, first of all, let me say this. The intensity of the storms continue to come down a bit. Does not mean we're not going to get some heavier rain and some storms, especially for places like Walker's Key, Grand Bahama, West End, Freeport, Lucaya, and the Abacos. Bimini would be included in that. Scattered showers extend all the way back to the Keys, and some of this moisture should lift over all of the northern and northwest Bahamas. So Andros, Nassau, New Providence, Eleuthera, maybe even Cat Island towards the Abacos. You can see some of the showers coming off of Cuba, and everything is just kind of training to the north and to the east. Again, not strong storms, but some heavier rain and a few lightning strikes. We're also picking up the small craft advisories again, and we've got the gale warnings back in effect for the northern and the northwest Bahamas, and gale conditions could also be moving into portions of the central Bahamas for tomorrow. Wind gusts here off the east coast of Florida, nearly 40 miles an hour. Freeport just reported a 33-mile-an-hour wind. Now, eventually this front is going to push a little bit farther off towards the south, but it will be losing a bit of its steam as it does so. So not expecting this front to have a lot of significant impacts for the central and the southeast Bahamas, but a little bit of moisture still coming back in all the way down towards the Acklins and Turks and Caicos will prompt at least a few showers over the next couple of days. We've had a little bit of healthier rain and storms develop over portions of Cuba, especially the central and the western sides of the islands towards Havana. Guys, you can see clearly on this visible satellite presentation, the front itself working its way down. Start to get some gusty winds over portions of Quintana Roo as well. Can't rule out some showers for Merida on over towards Cancun, Cozumel, Tulum for today. Campeche had a nearly 30-mile-an-hour wind gust. You follow this activity and at least some cloud coverage along portions of Belize, Guatemalan coastlines towards the Bay Islands of Honduras. You guys live in these areas. Let me know in the comments section below if this has spelled any rain for you guys for today. Temperatures have really not been that bad at all in these spots. You've got a couple of spaces like Roatan that hit 90 degrees, but look at San Ignacio today. They stayed in the 70s in Fahrenheit for a daytime high. Belize City up to 90, so very area dependent. Another beautiful day in the Cayman Islands. We've been basically dry, trying to get an opportunity for an isolated shower in portions of Jamaica at the hour. You notice that the winds are actually out of southeast, so some of the thicker clouds are developing right over the central part of the island and then lifting that moisture north. So the northern coastline, anywhere from Montego Bay on over towards the Falmouth area and Ocho Rios and Port Maria, those are the spots, even Port Antonio, that could have a slightly better chance for a shower. So, Montego Bay area, in areas east. And if you live in Jamaica, let me know in the comments section below if you've seen some of these showers. Obviously, a pretty warm day in Jamaica overall. Kingston today in at 86 degrees. We've seen a couple of spotty showers roll on shore, mainly on the southern coastline of Hispaniola. But again, that has prompted at least a couple of showers towards the peninsula there, towards Lacaille there in Haiti, and we'll take that. Scattered rain generally for the far eastern side of the Dominican Republic. Again, some of this is rain, some of this is a little bit of cloud coverage. You saw La Romana's temperature drop back to the upper 70s. Pretty hot day in Santo Domingo there, right around 90 degrees or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. It's been a relatively quiet day across Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. fast moving showers. Rip curl risk is still high. You can see what's going on out of San Juan at the hour as well. Let's take a live look to the radar here. Might take me just a second to fire that up completely, so bear with me here, but I want to take a look at the live radar out of the southeast side of Puerto Rico. So let me bring that up and let's talk about the showers that are in the area right now. Again, pretty darn spotty. You just have a few showers in interior sections towards the Uti Alto area, passing off towards the west. Now, this is not going to be any concentration of rain. It's going to be fast moving showers. We'll see the same little blips of rain over the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, Tortola, Roetown, U.S. Van Dyke, St. Thomas, St. John, even St. Croix could crash a little shower in there. Few showers for Vieques and Culebra for today, Fajardo as well. But the bottom line is, I don't expect this to be impactful weather for the most part for us here. Now, rain chances will actually drop a little bit in the next day or two and then come back up, and I'll have more on that in a second. You can clearly see the passing showers with the visible satellite imagery here across the Lesser Antilles in general. Temperatures have been quite lovely for today, a lot of lower 80s. Let's check out the wind gusts at the hour as well. Switch over to that. Again, from time to time, we've had some gusts in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, 20 to 25. Nothing outrageous for Anguilla and Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Bart's, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis. Looking pretty good. Again, fast moving showers here, still fairly brisk easterly winds. Martinique had a nice little 30-mile-an-hour wind gust there. Let's see, that is due east, so it's exactly what we'd expect from the trade winds. And again, underneath some of this cloud coverage, we picked up a little bit of shower activity, but nothing outrageous. Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, on over towards Grenada, Trinidad, and Tobago. A little bit of moisture trying to come back off the mainland here. You can see that clouds are moving in a little bit different direction. TNT is one of the areas that, we haven't had a lot of rain lately in most spots, but it is an area that I expect to be a little bit wetter here in the coming days, and we'll take a look at that as well. Now, again, this front is drifting all the way back down into the Yucatan. So this will initially bring some showers to this area and then dry things out. There's your developing gale conditions, a developing storm closer to Bermuda, which is going to bring gale conditions and some heavier rainfall there. The easterlies will continue right across the Caribbean. But again, a little bit more moisture will be pulling in soon, and that will spell a few more showers in a couple of spots for us here. So let's get into the forecast, friends. And as we do so, I do appreciate you guys watching and liking. Meteo Mundo community is excellent. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for subscribing to the channel if you're new. We welcome you aboard. Thank you for sharing this with your family and friends, and of course, finding ways to support the channel as well. All right, so let's go back out to the broad perspective here. Again, this front is going to have the most impacts for the Northwest Bahamas, portions of Cuba, and back down to the Yucatan. Pretty decent front for this time of the year. Storm conditions are already beginning to ramp up just west of Bermuda. They're going to get some heavy rainfall and storms tomorrow to go along with gale conditions. And we'll take a look at the surf and seas forecast as well, but it's not going to be pretty in those spots. What we are going to do right now is take a look at the rain across the area, and I've got your island by island rainfall forecast for you as well. So let's start off in Bermuda because I mentioned that. First of all, the winds are going to be very fresh. We do have small craft warnings that are currently in effect. This area is going to be the highest chance for rain across our region, especially for tomorrow. You notice that that system rakes right across. You have a broad mid-level spin that'll move across the area. Winds will then turn very brisk out of the west. So Bermuda, get prepared for what's going to be an active couple of days across the region. Should begin to quiet back down as we get into Wednesday afternoon. There's a spotty rain that should be able to go as far south as the Turks and Caicos here across this area. Better rain chances in the northern or northwest Bahamas, central and southeast Bahamas, some isolated to scattered showers. Same situation for the Turks and Caicos as well. Just not completely dry, but again, the moisture content just not as prevalent a little bit farther south that you go. Cuba will maintain some rain chances, but again, this front does work its way south, all the way south of the Cancun Cosmo areas. As a matter of fact, real quickly here, if I go back over to this broad satellite imagery, and I go back over to the water vapor, you're going to see that, we do have some moisture developing with this, but in a composite layer, the air is still relatively dry this time of the year. You can clearly see those little darker streaks. That's where the front is coming in, but behind it, drier air will continue to come back into the region. So again, this time of the year, you get your fronts coming in this part of the world, you get a little bit of rain with that, and then you're back to more isolated showers more than anything. The trade winds in the Eastern Caribbean is a whole different story with a little bit more moisture and more quality content for some rain. I expect a rogue shower or two in the Cayman Islands the next couple of days. But Little Cayman, Grand Cayman look fairly dry. A few isolated showers are possible in Jamaica. My friends there, if you catch a shower, let me know in the comments section below. I do expect by Wednesday, nope, let me try that again. I do expect by Thursday, the 13th, for rain chances to go a little bit higher. So moisture content and quality coming up a bit, where we might actually have some decent widespread rain across the island on Thursday. You can see a lot more green on the map there by Thursday compared to what we're going to see over the next few days. So Kingston, Portmore, Spanish Town, Montego Bay, and Negril isolated Tuesday, Wednesday, slightly higher chance on Thursday. A little bit optimistic. We'll see how it plays out. Scattered rain, but nothing that's going to be organized over Hispaniola from Puerto Plata towards Samana Peninsula, Punta Cana, Santo Domingo, Bajarona, Port-au-Prince, and La Caille. You're going to see some isolated scattered showers. But again, with this wind fetch kind of a little bit more out of the southeast, it does pull in more moisture for Haiti and giving opportunities for areas that have been frightfully dry lately to catch some of that rain. Don't expect a lot of showers in Puerto Rico or the Virgin Islands in the next couple of days. I think a little bit better rain chance late Thursday, but especially into Friday. So just kind of beyond this forecast time frame, I do expect rain chances to continue to ramp back up. And so if you haven't caught a shower lately and you want some of that rain, cross your fingers. It should be a little bit higher chance here as we get into the last part of the week and into the weekend. Scattered showers over the Lesser Antilles in general. Relatively quiet conditions from Anguilla to Antigua and Barbuda the next couple of days. Still watch out for some elevated sea conditions from time to time. These are fast passing showers. This is a nice time of the year to be outside. Boaters, make sure that you just keep those sheltered locations if you have smaller vessels from Guadeloupe and Montserrat South to Dominica and Martinique. Moisture should improve better here a little bit later into Thursday and Friday. So we're flipping it a bit. You know, the last couple of weeks, the moisture content has been higher in the Leeward Islands and it's been drier in the Windward Islands, but we might do a little bit of a 180. You can see some of this moisture coming back in, and you notice earlier I mentioned Trinidad and Tobago. This is an area, Barbados, the Grenadines, Grenada, maybe even St. Vincent included in this, to see rain chances come up a bit. Now, you'll see in the 3-day forecast, we got it slightly higher on Thursday, but potentially even higher chances Friday and Saturday. So we're going to keep an eye out for that. But until then, relatively isolated. ABC Islands, a lot of wind, not a lot of rain for Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. Wouldn't expect more than an isolated shower at best. Same thing for Nueva Esparta. And most of Central America will actually be relatively dry. We have dried out a bit over Panama and Costa Rica. Still could see some showers kind of try and pile up here near the Bay Islands, Roatan, Guanaja, Utila, and then towards the coastline, La Ceiba, San Pedro Sula, on over towards Dangriga and Belize City, all with isolated shower chances over the next couple of days. So this is what it looks like in your area. Again, Northwest Bahamas, you know, kind of winding down early Tuesday. Very dry Wednesday, a few showers on Thursday. Actually slightly higher Central and Southeast Bahamas as that front works its way off to the south, but nothing more than scattered to isolated. Same thing for the Turks and the Caicos. Cuba's rain chances are highest on the central and the western side of the island. Again, very, very sparse rain for the Cayman Islands the next couple of days. Belize City only has a 20% chance for rain, and behind that front will dry out again for most of the Yucatan, including Cancun and Cozumel. So Jamaica's rain chances, 20 tomorrow, 30 Wednesday. I've got 30 on Thursday as well, but hopefully that rain chance will actually be a little bit higher on Thursday and potentially Friday as well. The Dominican Republic, 20% chance the next couple of days, 30 on Thursday. We're relatively dry in Puerto Rico and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands through Thursday, but again, beyond this forecast, better rain chances should return on Friday. Bermuda, the healthy rain and wind tomorrow, whipping through with that area of low pressure. Still 30% chance on Wednesday, 20 on Thursday. Anguilla's rain chances build from 20 tomorrow up to a 40% chance on Thursday. St. Kitts and Nevis, isolated tomorrow, scattered Wednesday, Thursday. Antigua, Barbuda, 40% chance on Wednesday. That's not bad. Still 30 on Thursday. Generally speaking, you're going to start off a little bit drier. Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And in some locations, slightly build the rain chance through Thursday. Other places like Dominica and Martinique, it's still just a quick passing shower. Notice I haven't really mentioned any heavy rain. These are going to be so fast moving, they're going to get in and out of one location really quickly. Barbados, Grenada's rain chances begin to improve on Thursday, and again, beyond this forecast, maybe even higher. Same thing for Trinidad and Tobago and places like Suriname. Thursday into Friday, rain chances should be going up. Nueva Esparta, just an isolated shower and virtually dry in the ABC Islands. All right, wave heights and directions look like this. Look, for most of the Caribbean, it's not horrible. Central, western sides, obviously you can clearly see what that area of low pressure does to the winds and the waves. For the eastern sides of the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos on the exposed waters of the Atlantic, long period swells, small craft warnings for Bermuda. Not horrible down towards the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Same thing for the Lesser Antilles. Again, that will turn the winds a little bit more out of the north, so we could start to see some swells come back into the northern sides of the islands. And then late in this period, we might actually crash, again, a little bit more moisture. I'm going to let this run one more time. You can see through the midweek hours, we're relatively quiet and tranquil with boating conditions, but next weekend into early next week, we could get another push of some higher wave heights in those spots. Let's talk about rainfall totals. Obviously, the front is going to bring some showers to Bermuda and the Bahamas. We'll drift as far south as portions of North Central America, get you a little bit of rain back towards the Cayman Islands and Cuba and Jamaica, but not a lot. You can clearly see at the end of this forecast that the European model wants to bring a swath of that higher moisture content right back over the Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and portions of the Dominican Republic. I'll be watching that. I mean, that's a healthy swath of heavy rain, but it's much later in this period with scattered showers for the remainder of the Lesser Antilles. Let's go look at the GFS model. These are your rainfall totals. Now again, the GFS model, I've got this out 5 days. The European model was a full 7 days. If I take this and I extend this model out farther in time, so let's go a full week here as well, you'll clearly see what this is picking up on. It's coming along with the wind as well. So this is a feature to watch out for this time next week, right? A broad spin in the atmosphere that could crank in more moisture here. And then I've already mentioned Trinidad and Tobago. You can see the moisture kind of upwelling in this area as well. So when we look at the rainfall totals, in the potential coming days, it's not bad, right? You get to the potential for 1.5 to 2 inches of rain. That's somewhere between 25 and 50 millimeters. 1 inch is 25 millimeters, so it's a pretty easy conversion. But there's those higher rainfall totals that I mentioned right here. Now, this is a very interesting little feature, right? It's March. Obviously, there's absolutely nothing that's going to be tropical in nature to go along with that. But if we take a look at our vorticity product, and you guys who are friends of the channel know I like to use this during hurricane season. It's just kind of an interesting feature that's going to be moving through kind of the central sides of the Atlantic. It'll take a second to loop up. Now, obviously, these are mid-latitude cyclones coming off the United States East Coast, but we look a little bit south of there, right? I'll probably even use this as my thumbnail. It's just an interesting little feature. You can look at that kind of develop off the tailing trough right here. So you get your cold front coming in, drops down, you get this trough line right here, a little bit of area of instability and weakness, and you get this interesting little feature trying to spin up here, right? And that, if nothing else, should kick some wind and moisture back into the Lesser and Greater Antilles about this time next week, right? I always look at the extended forecast as well, because this time of the year we can have these features, and there looks to be some high moisture content associated with that. So the opportunity to push some wind and rain back into those areas. But you can clearly see that broader spin here on that vorticity product. Again, obviously it's nothing this time of the year that's anything tropical in nature, but it's an interesting feature nonetheless. Friends, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for following us across all social media. You'd be so kind. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. As always, you want to send me a picture or video, myMediaMundo@gmail.com. That's the simplest way to do it. Media Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. They cover homeowners, condo owners, and associations across the entire state. Anything that could damage your home or yourself. So if you're in a car accident or you've had hail damage or hurricane damage, they'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. It is is leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Friends, you have a specific question about the forecast, drop it in the comments section below while you're down there. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Appreciate you tuning in. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I'm back soon with the latest forecast right here at Meteo Mundo.